Each year, the birthday videos featuring the Sussex children have shown a clear progression. They are longer and reveal more. This trajectory from initial brief glimpses to extended, professionally produced content signals a significant shift in their public presentation strategy. It raises questions about the consistency between stated principles and observed actions. Initial appearances by Archie were brief, bordering on inconspicuous, offering just enough visibility to acknowledge his presence. These were deliberately limited, almost overtly restrictive in the content provided. Subsequently, visibility increased incrementally. By Lilibet's birthday in 2025, a video exceeding 1 minute featured her face clearly and at length, included her voice, and was disseminated to international media as a professional production rather than an incidental private family moment. One commentary piece questioned Prince Harry's perceived assumption of entitlement to taxpayer-funded protection, particularly given an existing invitation to a royal residence. This perspective characterized his stance as throwing the toys out of the cot again, arguing he expects public funding despite his non-working royal status. This trajectory invites comparison with the original commitment, which was articulated with specificity under particular conditions. Prince Harry constructed an argument to explain their departure. This justification needed to be sufficiently compelling for the public to comprehend and accept their decision to leave the world's most prominent family, relinquishing titles, protection, and institutional benefits. The core claim was that the institution could not safeguard the children they wished to raise. Archie had already been born and introduced to the world with the level of visibility deemed appropriate by the Sussex operation at that time. Liberté was anticipated. The underlying argument was explicit. My children will grow up in public if I stay. The press will circle them the way the press circled me. The cameras will find them the way cameras found Diana. And I cannot allow that to happen to my own children when I know exactly what it does to a person. This was the presented rationale. Another commentator, however, suggested Harry and Meghan had seized defeat from the jaws of victory once again. This argument was articulated clearly and repeatedly across various formats to a significant global audience. It resonated with many who sympathized with the Sussexes' departure, finding it particularly understandable and genuinely affecting. It portrayed a father endeavoring to protect his children from a specific harm he had personally experienced, and one that his mother had not endured. Prince Harry's most explicit public statement on this matter links the decision directly to Diana. This connection warrants closer examination, as it forms a central theme within the broader narrative. Another piece of commentary argued that while disengaging from an institution is a legitimate choice, the subsequent unpopularity arises from signing agreements that contradict stated desires for privacy, effectively monetizing information about the organization they claim to distance themselves from. This analysis contended that when facing commercial pressures, they then saw institutional benefits without undertaking the associated duties, asserting that such an approach doesn't work in any walk of life. Prince Harry frames Diana's story as a cautionary narrative, influencing his subsequent life choices. This narrative emphasizes the exposure, the constant cameras, and how being public property from birth reportedly denied her the internal resilience necessary when circumstances became challenging. This interpretation is consistently presented in his memoir, interviews, and documentary. Such a perspective, if taken at face value, logically suggests his children would be raised with maximum privacy, given their father's first-hand understanding of the consequences of public life. Another commentator voiced exasperation regarding Prince Harry's expectations while within a royal residence. The commentator posed rhetorical questions concerning the security protocols in such settings, implying that protection would inherently be provided within a royal residence and in the presence of the monarch. The observation concluded by questioning what additional security measures Prince Harry could reasonably expect. Understanding this framework alters the perception of both the birthday video and the Netflix content. Angela Levin offers a response to this query. A perspective merits consideration not only due to her extensive journalistic focus on Prince Harry and Meghan, reportedly exceeding that of many other journalists, and even some personal interactions with Harry in research settings, but also because she outlines the underlying mechanism rather than simply critiquing the visible outcome. Levin's argument posits that Megan strategically presents the children to the public when the Sussex operation requires stabilization, for instance during unfavorable media coverage, or when brand momentum stagnates, necessitating a more relatable and human element to redirect public discourse. One observation made was that the couple appears to desire the privileges of senior royals without acknowledging their departure from that role. They resigned, and this commentator concurred. Levin suggests that children are brought forward precisely calibrated to the brand's needs at specific junctures. This involves selective appearances, a voice, a clear facial image, or a minute-long birthday video when that duration serves the immediate purpose, but not exceeding it if more might be perceived as excessive. Access is then reportedly withdrawn once the immediate objective is met, until another situation requires intervention. According to this analysis, the children are not integrated as a consistent component of the public persona, which, while potentially contentious, would at least represent a clear stance. Instead, they are reportedly deployed selectively. This deployment is understood to respond to commercial brand requirements, rather than considerations pertaining to the children themselves or their personal relationship with public visibility. Within this interpretation, the timing of the birthday video is not coincidental. It is assessed within the broader commercial context. One commentary claimed that Prince Harry has previously shamelessly leveraged and weaponized access to Archie and Lilibet to secure armed royal protection. This commentary further described Prince Harry as acting like a spoiled toddler upon learning that armed bodyguards would not be provided. At this juncture, Netflix content had reportedly underperformed, ranking 383rd among global titles, placing it below a children's animated program. The associated podcast had also fallen entirely off the charts. The Archewell brand was observing contracting traffic. Concurrently, a planned UK visit faltered before materializing, generating coverage that presented Prince Harry as negotiating from a position of perceived weakness. Into this specific environment, a birthday video for Lilibet, which was warmly received, widely shared, and generated international coverage portraying the family as affectionate, content, and conventional, performed tangible commercial functions. It reportedly shifted the public discourse, reminding the audience of the presence of children and a family, suggesting a genuine core amidst a contracting brand and dissatisfied commercial associates. The children are not strictly speaking the product itself, but they function as the emotional catalyst that influences how the product is received, particularly when audience skepticism emerges. The timing of their public appearances and withdrawals reportedly correlates closely with the brand's fluctuating need for this emotional engagement. This point warrants further consideration, as it connects to Prince Harry's articulated stance on these matters. A precise examination is necessary, given the specificity and significance of his stated position. A commentator recalled their last private meeting, which occurred at Prince Philip's funeral. Details from this meeting reportedly appeared in the foreword of Spare, following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, including specific accounts of him entering her bedroom. This commentary expressed a belief that the late Queen would not have wished such details to be public, concluding that there's always that risk when he sees his family that it's going to end up being monetized somehow, a practice described as incredibly vulgar. Prince Harry's most explicit public statements regarding his departure from the royal family link the decision directly to his children's privacy. He has articulated in Spare, interviews, and the Netflix documentary that his aim was to prevent Archie and Lilibet from experiencing the upbringing he had. He reportedly sought to ensure they would not be defined by their royal identity prematurely. His stated objective was to protect them from cameras in private moments and from their childhood becoming public content. By his own account, his departure was primarily motivated by a desire to provide them with a life he himself lacked, with Diana's experience serving as the underlying context. Prince Harry discusses Diana in a particular manner when addressing childhood, privacy, and the impact of constant camera exposure on individuals observed from birth. He references the burden it placed on her, describing how visibility reportedly exacerbated an uncontrollable situation. His narrative emphasizes that being public property from an early age purportedly deprived her of the internal fortitude needed amidst challenging circumstances. This interpretation has been publicly presented. It is this specific reading that lends credibility to his stated reasons for leaving, making them appear genuinely motivated rather than fabricated. Consequently, the birthday video appears jarring. Its incongruity stems from a specific and disquieting tension, beyond simply being another instance of the Sussex operation exhibiting contradictory behaviour. Releasing a professionally produced video of a 3-year-old daughter to international media, timed to a specific date to maximize global coverage for millions of viewers across a global platform, does not align with protecting her from the fate her father expressed fearing. Instead, it constitutes an active choice for that specific outcome. The distinction between Diana's public exposure and the impact of this birthday video on Lilibet lies in the degree and element of control. Meghan and Harry reportedly control the framing and timing, an agency Diana did not possess. However, the fundamental decision to transform a child's life into public content, serving the parent's commercial enterprise, remains consistent. This decision is presented in vastly different terms and language, made by individuals who have for years clearly articulated why they would avoid such actions. One commentary noted the British taxpayers' disinclination to fund their security. It was suggested that the spoiled brat, the Duke of Sussex, may well throw his toys out of the pram once again after announcing a UK visit, subsequently learning his family would not receive police protection. A closer examination of the Netflix content, specifically titles such as Love Meghan and Without Walls, alongside supplementary material for their lifestyle brand, raises questions extending beyond the birthday videos. These inquiries focus on the overarching framework constructed around the children and whether it truly provides protection or merely verbalizes exposure in protective terms. Netflix Without Walls is presented as a behind-the-scenes series offering viewers perceived intimate access to the brand launch and its principles. This reportedly includes domestic life elements intended to authenticate the product offerings. The emotional premise is that products, such as jam, are crafted by a seemingly familiar individual in an aspirational kitchen setting by a family that invites identification. Within this context, the children's appearances differ from simple birthday tributes. They are the most famous invisible children on the planet. We know their parents cure their birthright. We know their parents reach into the commercial appeal of items such as jam or candles. Critics have contended that the Netflix material represents the clearest divergence from Prince Harry's stated principle. This assessment holds that it is indeed the most visible manifestation. However, a more fundamental tension reportedly underlies this visibility. Prince Harry's rationale for departure specifically cited leaving an institution that would have exposed his children to cameras and positioned them as public figures before they could provide consent. He explicitly stated that the British royal family and the British press collectively formed a system within which he could not protect his children. This system has reportedly been replaced by Netflix, a global streaming platform with hundreds of millions of subscribers, and a financial relationship reportedly worth millions of dollars. On this platform, his children appear in lifestyle content, accompanying product launches and brand narratives. These are specifically crafted to convey a sense of access to a private life, despite being commercial content. This framework is not a protection from cameras. It represents a distinct, arguably more commercially calculated, iteration of the same exposure, managed by the same parents rather than an institution. It is presented under the guise of authenticity, rather than traditional royal duty. The institution Prince Harry departed had established protocols concerning children and public visibility. Prince William and Catherine have maintained their children's privacy within the scope of royal public life. This includes infrequent appearances at major events and annual school photographs designed to be relatable without intruding. Birthday portraits reportedly offer minimal personal detail, safeguarding much of their ordinary domestic existence. Prince George, aged 12, has reportedly not given a television interview or appeared in commercially produced content. Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis receive comparable protection from such visibility. During Catherine's cancer treatment, amid heightened public speculation and misinformation, and when footage of routine family life could have significantly mitigated conspiratorial reporting, she deliberately elected not to release videos of her children as substantiation or reassurance. She prioritized their privacy over managing the public narrative concerning her health, a choice often characterized as principled yet challenging to implement amidst intense media scrutiny. Contrast this with Archie, aged 6, and Lilibet, aged 3, appearing in Netflix documentary content within a lifestyle series. This content serves an explicit commercial purpose for an audience of hundreds of millions across over 190 countries. The protective framework Prince Harry stated he was establishing for his children, the private life cited as the reason for his departure, the associated sacrifices and years of family estrangement, is in practice demonstrably less protective than the royal family environment he claimed to be escaping. Prince William and Catherine's approach to their children's privacy reportedly offers greater protection than the strategy Prince Harry outlined when explaining his departure from the institution they remain a part of. To be clear, the central point is not to label Prince Harry and Meghan as inadequate parents, or to suggest Archie and Lilibet are suffering overt or immediate harm. Children raised in public life within a controlled environment by loving parents are not inherently disadvantaged. Framing it as such reportedly oversimplifies the intricate dynamics of managing family visibility. The core inquiry concerns the consistency between articulated statements and observable actions. The divergence between these two elements reportedly indicates whether the stated reasons for their departure were genuine, or if they constituted a more sympathetic presentation of what was fundamentally a commercial decision. If the departure was genuinely predicated on shielding the children from public life, then their lives should reflect privacy. Conversely, if the decision was primarily to establish a commercial enterprise independent of royal family constraints, the children's appearances in Netflix content become consistent with that objective. The birthday video and its surrounding context do not definitively resolve this question, but they contribute to the ongoing discussion. They serve as evidence within the argument, supporting a narrative distinct from the one Prince Harry has publicly advanced. Angela Levin's position is forthright, offering a concise articulation of this argument. The children are being used as a commercial asset. Furthermore, those responsible for this decision are reportedly aware that Prince Harry's stated principles highlight its inherent contradiction. This awareness explains why the presentation surrounding every birthday video and Netflix appearance consistently emphasizes warmth, affection, and family centrality. This emotional packaging reportedly obscures the commercial reality, necessitating meticulous and consistent presentation across all content featuring the children. The communication strategy does not explicitly state commercial benefits. Instead, it foregrounds imagery such as birthday balloons and a laughing child. The commercial objectives are reportedly achieved implicitly, outside the primary public focus. Regardless of other perceptions of the Sussex operation, this demonstrates a sophisticated comprehension of presenting one image while operating with a different underlying function. It necessitates an accurate assessment of the audience, recognizing that viewers typically prefer to perceive warmth rather than explicit calculation. As long as the warmth is credibly conveyed, the underlying commercial strategy can reportedly remain largely imperceptible to most. The children's appearances are understood to enhance brand efficacy. The affection is likely genuine. There is no basis to question Prince Harry and Meghan's profound love for their children. However, the choice to share this affection with a global audience via a commercial platform, aligned with commercial scheduling, remains a commercial decision, irrespective of the genuine emotions involved. Revisiting an earlier point, its significance warrants further emphasis within this discussion, as it is often underrepresented in analyses. Prince Harry's argument for departure was not solely about desiring a private life for his children. It reportedly sought to establish a specific contrast: his children's private existence set against his own public childhood, and Diana's reportedly compromised private self. This forms the emotional core of the Spare narrative, the documentary, and every interview where he links his decision to depart with the experience of constant observation during childhood. He has stated, "My mother was consumed by the exposure. I was shaped by it in ways I'm still recovering from. My children will not experience it." The parallel drawn with Diana constitutes the most compelling argument within the Sussex narrative, primarily due to its personal nature and resistance to easy refutation. It does not demand consensus on institutional racism, press unfairness, or the legitimacy of security claims. It merely requires acknowledging that a son, who witnessed his mother's early death in circumstances exacerbated by public exposure, might sincerely desire to shield his own children from a similar trajectory. This argument is widely perceived as emotionally compelling. Many who extended Prince Harry the benefit of the doubt reportedly did so because this specific component of his case resonated as authentic, unlike other aspects that appeared constructed. This explains why the birthday video, the Netflix content, Without Walls, and the increasing visibility of two young children as content about them expands in length and commerciality, has a particular impact. It represents more than a mere contradiction of a stated principle. It contradicts the principle that many found most authentic, most personal, and most deeply connected to genuine grief and apprehension. It was the specific point that reportedly led many to conclude, yes, regardless of all other considerations, titles, security disagreements, commercial ventures, and contradictions, I understand why he left. If Prince Harry's principle of protecting his children from cameras constituted the authentic core amidst other surrounding factors, it should remain visibly manifest in his actions, not solely in his rhetoric. Should this principle not be operational, then either circumstances have altered it in ways he has not publicly clarified, which is a plausible scenario warranting his address, or it was never precisely as presented when it served its most effective argumentative purpose. The latter conclusion is becoming increasingly difficult to circumvent given the current situation. The public record indicates a trajectory of increasing content featuring the children moving in one direction since Archie's initial, carefully restricted glimpses as a newborn. This trend reflects greater visibility, not less. Increased deployment, not withdrawal. More minutes of birthday video, not fewer. And an expansion of Netflix series, rather than a retreat from the platform. Angela Levin and other analysts have proposed an explanation. Prince Harry's stated principles are reportedly operating within a household where they are consistently superseded by commercial imperatives. This interpretation suggests Harry is either unable or unwilling to publicly prevent this from occurring. While this is an uncomfortable assessment, it is reportedly supported by the available evidence. A long-term consideration warrants attention, as it extends beyond the immediate news cycle. Archie is 6 years old and Lilibet is 3. Both are too young to comprehend the implications of a Netflix documentary, a birthday video disseminated to millions, or the commercial dynamics between their family and a streaming platform. They are too young to articulate preferences regarding public visibility. Instead, they reportedly assimilate the reality presented to them, shaped by their upbringing. Their understanding of privacy and publicity is reportedly being formed by the decisions made on their behalf. The environment in which they are being raised involves serving as content for a global streaming platform reaching hundreds of millions of subscribers. Within a few years, they will be old enough to genuinely express views on visibility and privacy. In subsequent years, they will be capable of understanding the commercial function of these videos and the correlations in their timing. Beyond that, they will eventually be able to access all recorded public commentary and visual material, forming their own assessment of the disparity between their father's stated intent to protect them and the observable outcomes. This analysis does not constitute a critique of Prince Harry and Meghan's parental affection or an assertion of their inadequacy as parents. It is assumed they love their children profoundly. Rather, it is an observation regarding the potential content of future discussions and whether the private childhood Prince Harry stated he was providing will, in the children's own assessment later in life, align with his initial justifications for departure. The public is left to consider whether the pattern Angela Levin describes aligns with the timing of the birthday videos and the nature of the Netflix content. Alternatively, one might consider whether a commercial interpretation is being excessively applied to decisions genuinely rooted in a family sharing its life.